Today, we'll be discussing a very important inflammatory condition, specifically relating to the muscles of the human body. And it can be the muscles of the limbs, as well as it can affect the smooth muscles, which are performing their involuntary actions. So, according to the muscles that are affected, the signs and symptoms are going to appear in an individual. Myositis is the condition that we are going to discuss today. And when we have these patients, it is sometimes very confusing, and these conditions are sometimes even confused with rheumatic conditions because of the fact that the signs and symptoms are quite similar to the myalgia rheumatica or even the rheumatoid arthritis, and all of the particular signs and symptoms, particularly the most notorious of all, morning stiffness, which we usually observe in rheumatoid arthritis, is also seen over here. Now, when we have these patients in the outpatient department, what would be the particular history that they would be relating to? Usually, they are suffering from polymyalgias. Now, when we use the word polymyalgia, it's basically the muscular involvement and the muscles are quite painful. There is a symmetric involvement of the muscles on both sides, and usually the proximal extremities are affected over here. So by saying that only the proximities are affected, usual areas that are affected over here are the neck muscles, the muscles of the back are affected. And then obviously we have the muscles of the upper limb and the lower limb, the abdominal muscles. These are sometimes affected. Apart from this pattern that is usually observed in the patients, it is also the involvement of the esophageal muscles as well as the heart muscles that are affected, and accordingly, the signs and symptoms would develop in an individual. For instance, if it's the esophageal involvement, what would basically arise in an individual? It's the difficulty in swallowing that the patient would usually complain of. Then if the respiratory muscles are affected, there would be the signs and symptoms of difficulty in breathing. That is, the patient would complain of dyspnea on exercise, or even it can be not related to any physical activity. So these are the particular signs and symptoms. The arrhythmias that are associated that can also be observed in the heart muscles. So these are the particular signs and symptoms, and even the presenting complaints or the presenting clinical picture would be basically suggestive of the fact that what group of muscles are affected in that particular individual. There is a range of disorders out there, and so the associated symptoms is going to depend upon the fact that what type of myositis we are dealing with. We have a classification that is associated with myositis, and that is basically, this classification is just for the purpose of studying, and it's not actually, when we get these patients, there is not always a clear-cut picture that this particular patient is suffering from this exact variety of myositis. It's always an overlapping picture usually. And it can be a patient who initially presented with one type of myositis, and later on he or she can develop the other signs and symptoms as well. And the diagnosis can change according to the signs and symptoms with the passage of time. So diagnosing the case in a particular way is basically going to be quite helpful. And obviously, you're going to classify the signs and symptoms whenever you get these patients. And then obviously, you're going to manage these patients by performing the investigations, the particular investigations. And that is going to lead the management in a particular way. And obviously, you're going to treat the patients accordingly, because there is different kind of a prognostic factors in different types of myositis that we discuss. So in simplified terminologies, myositis is the inflammation of the muscles. And we've already discussed that the muscles can be it can be the skeletal muscles, it can be the smooth muscles, and even it can be the cardiac muscles. All of these categories of muscles can be affected, and accordingly, the signs and symptoms are going to develop in that particular individual. So, what is causing this inflammation? Obviously, there are some triggering factors. These triggering factors can be in the environment, and you basically broadly classify them in your mind when you have these triggering factors. These can be the environmental triggers, these can be the internal triggers, the genetic makeup of the individual, which is making the person prone to this development of myositis. So the environmental factors play a very important role. Even if a person is genetically prone, he or she might not develop myositis if these triggering factors or these environmental factors are not present. Mainly, when we look at these environmental factors, we have these infectious states. And infections can be of any kind. It can be basically the stressful infections. For instance, we have tuberculosis, we have syringomyalgias, and we have tabes dorsalis. All of these infectious states basically make the person more prone to the development of this myalgic condition. So one might have a question in mind that any sort of infectious states would result in a feverish condition, and obviously the patient would complain of myalgias. But over here, we are not really concerned about the myalgias. Apart from the myalgic conditions, it is the fatigue, it is the weakness that is observed in these muscles, and along with that, there are some particular dermatological signs and symptoms that are also associated with this myalgic condition. So it is a whole syndromic condition that we are more concerned with, rather than just a single complaint of polymyalgias that is even associated with the feeling of unwellness that is associated with the infectious or with the feverish condition. Then obviously injury, any sort of mechanical injuries can result in a stressful condition, and the body comes under stress, and obviously there is a cascade of events, the release of cytokines, and as we'll be discussing the pathogenesis, the underlying pathogenesis behind the myositis, that basically reflects upon the fact that all of these stressful conditions leads to those cascade of events. So either it can be an infectious state, either it can be a mechanical injury that is resulting in that stressful condition of the body. Now, certain medicines also react, and obviously it is going to depend upon the allergic conditions of the individual. Different individuals react to the different sorts of medications. For instance, it can be the third generation cephalosporins, or either it can be the fluoroquinolones. Usually patients react to these medications, and these allergic reactions can start off with that particular cascade of events that we're going to study. Exercise, again, can induce stress, and in return, it can induce this condition of myositis in prone individuals, of course. The chronic diseases, for instance, chronic kidney diseases, or if a patient is suffering from heart diseases, liver diseases, all of them are basically contributing to these stressful conditions of that particular individual. Now, autoimmune disorders, for instance, we have the multiple sclerosis. We have rheumatoid arthritis on the list, and then we have systemic lupus erythematosus. When we just get into the details of all of these autoimmune disorders, we come to know that they have a similar pattern. The patients usually suffer from morning stiffness, they can later on suffer from foot drop, and there is an inflammation of the joints, as well as the patients suffer from polymyalgias. With the passage of time, as the condition gets worsened, it can lead to an overlapping condition in which the patient is suffering from a particular autoimmune disorder, as well as there is a secondary diagnosis of myositis, either of the conditions, either of the classification, depending upon the signs and symptoms. So all of these diagnostic factors have to be evaluated. And obviously, if there is a particular definitive diagnosis of SLE, there is a butterfly rash, the patient is suffering from morning stiffness, and there are these particular antibodies, that is the ANCA antibodies in the blood, that are circulating and that are basically making definitive diagnosis of SLE. And then you find out by performing the other investigations, for instance, the electromyographies or the MRIs are suggestive of the fact that the patient is also suffering from myositis. So there can be basically more than one diagnosis to a single patient. So you have to basically evaluate the patient in detail when you are considering that this particular patient might be suffering from myositis. You have to carry out the investigations in a particular way and then find out the triggering factors, either in the environment or either the patient himself or herself is allergic to some kind of a drug, or either it is an infectious or either it is an autoimmune disorder that he or she is suffering from. So this is how basically you evaluate these patients and move on with the management guidelines in cases of myositis.